episodes ago, you were trapped in the exhausting cycle of proving your worth, wrestling with perfectionism, and white-knuckling control. Today, you have the complete connected leadership framework that transforms how you show up as a leader. I know you may have burning questions about making this real, and I'm here to answer them. I'm Dr. Cara, and this is the finale of our Connected Leadership series, where we solve the implementation challenges that separate leaders who know this framework from leaders who live it. Here's the transformation journey you've taken. Episodes 1 through 2 focus on recognizing your value. Your worth is inherent, not earned. Episodes 3 and 4 revealed why I created this framework, from my leadership struggles, discovering the power of receive, perceive, and respond. Episodes 5 and 6 taught you to embody grace. High standards with compassion create psychological safety. Episodes 7 and 8 showed you how to conquer control, pivot from controlling everything to mastering your response. When you integrate all three pillars, you don't just become a better leader. You multiply your influence through connection rather than control. Research shows this creates 2.5 times higher team performance and 40% lower turnover. Now let's solve your biggest implementation questions.
The first question is, how do I know if I'm really living this framework or just performing it?
This reveals the perfectionist trap. You're still seeking external validation. Here are the real indicators. Internal signs you're living it. You feel curious about problems instead of immediately anxious. The pause between trigger and response gets longer naturally. You catch yourself asking empowering questions without thinking about it. You feel less drained because you're leading from worth, not proving worth. External signs that your team notices are people bring you solutions, not just problems. Team members take initiative without permission seeking. Honest communication increases while conflict decreases. Innovation emerges naturally in meetings. When you slip into old patterns, and you will, do you catch yourself quickly and course correct with grace? That is mastery, not failure.
I love the vulnerability with this next question. What if my team thinks grace-based leadership is weakness?
Grace isn't lowering standards. It's changing your approach to achieving them. Picture a leader whose team misses a deadline. Weakness says, it's fine. Grace says, this doesn't meet our standard. What specific support would help you get there? Google's Project Aristotle research confirms psychological safety, which creates grace, is the #1 predictor of team performance. Grace doesn't sacrifice excellence. It creates the conditions where excellence flourishes. Start with grace with standards. Maintain high expectations while creating safety for honest communication about obstacles and solutions.
Here is a good question. How do I pivot without looking indecisive?
Pivoting isn't about changing your mind. It's adapting your method while maintaining your direction. Imagine your team is missing project deadlines. Indecisive leadership wavers on the goal. Pivot leadership says, our deadline remains firm. Based on what you're experiencing, what adjustments would help us achieve this more effectively? When you pivot, communicate 3 things. What new information triggered the adjustment? How this better serves your original goal? And what remains constant, your values and commitment to results. Leaders who master pivot gain authority because they demonstrate wisdom over ego and responsive over rigidness.
Talk about standing in your truth. This question gets to the heart of it. How do I maintain my worth when facing criticism or major setbacks?
This is where the avocado principle gets tested. Your value doesn't decrease with failure any more than an avocado loses nutritional value because somebody doesn't like it. When facing criticism, receive the feedback without defending. What's accurate here? Perceive your internal response. What's triggering this threat reaction? And respond from inherent worth. How does a valuable leader handle this? Consider a leader whose innovation fails. Instead of personal failure, they ask, what did this teach us about timing, communication, or stakeholder needs? Every setback is expensive tuition in leadership mastery. Create worth anchors, evidence of your value you review regularly. the team member whose confidence that you've built, the difficult conversation you navigated with integrity. These aren't just accomplishments that create worth. They are expressions of worth that you already possess.
The next question is, what if my organization resists this approach?
You don't need permission to live this framework. Start with your sphere of influence and let the results create curiosity. Position your approach as optimizing team performance using research-based engagement strategies. Let the metrics speak: higher productivity, lower stress, increased innovation while maintaining quality. Imagine one department showing dramatically higher satisfaction, lower turnover, and stronger results. Other leaders ask, what is different? The framework spreads because it works, not because it's mandated.
Our last question for the day is, how do I integrate all three pillars during crisis?
This is a great question. Crisis is where this framework proves its power. Most leaders revert to control under pressure. That's when connection becomes most crucial. Use your pillars as decision filters. Worth asks, am I responding from value or needing to prove myself? Grace asks, does this honor both excellence and humanity? Control asks, am I focusing on what I can influence or trying to control everything? Picture a leader navigating budget cuts. Traditional approach would be making unilateral decisions from fear. A connected approach, here's our reality. Given our values, how do we make these changes while preserving what matters most? The team becomes partners in creative solutions. Here's your 30-day plan to integrate all three pillars. Week 1 is your worth foundation. Daily RPR worth practice. For 5 minutes, acknowledge inherent value before checking external metrics. Use worth-based decision making. Is this choice coming from value or from proving? Week 2, grace integration. Practice grace-based feedback. Correct actions without attacking character. Share one learning moment weekly, showing growth matters more than perfection. Week 3, control mastery. Replace controlling directives with empowering questions. Instead of, here's what to do, ask, what approach do you think would work? Week 4 is the full integration. Combine all three pillars in high-pressure situations. Before major decisions, anchor in worth, respond with grace, and focus on what you can influence. You can also engage in daily practices. Morning worth acknowledgement. I am valuable because of who I am. The pre-meeting pause. How do I want to show up? The evening reflection. Where did I respond versus react? Now you have the complete connected leadership framework. 3 pillars that transform how you lead and how others experience your leadership. Let's anchor with 3 connected breaths. The first breath, receive your inherent worth. You are valuable, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. The second breath, perceive the grace available for yourself, your team, and the beautiful imperfection of leadership. Third breath, choose your response with intention. The only control you have is how you receive, perceive, and respond. When you lead from connection rather than control, you don't just change results, you transform lives. You create workplaces where people feel seen, valued, and empowered to bring their brilliance to meaningful work. Your connected leadership journey continues beyond this series. Please subscribe to stay connected to leaders who are choosing worth over validation, grace over perfection, and connection over control. Which pillar, value, grace, or control will you focus on first? Drop a comment and let us know. Remember, connect to yourself so you can elevate and expand for those you lead. The only control you have is how you receive, perceive, and respond. Master that and you've mastered leadership itself. Thank you for joining me on this connected leadership journey. Now go lead from the inside out.